They were now looking forward to handing over that project to a private developer. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, in the interest of security, and to ensure that the accommodation challenges facing the armed forces is resolved, we're making a direct appeal through this medium to the government to reconsider its decision and return to the original decision, which was to have the armed forces take over the Sagleme housing project. Excuses such as the quantum of money required for the completion of the project is so huge, and if it is handed over to the armed forces, they wouldn't be able to complete the project. Is neither here nor there. Government can raise funding and support the armed forces, or resource the engineering outfit of the armed forces with some funds to complete the project by themselves. They have the competence to do so that we can put Sagleme to good use. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion for the amount stated to be adapted for the programs and activities of the ministry.
Mr. Speaker, the report at page 4 indicated clearly that even though the approved budget, which was later revised to 141 million as capital expenditure for the Ministry of Defense, revised for 196 million. As of September, when this budget was prepared, they had only received 89 million. And Mr. Speaker, I think this is a very serious matter, especially considering the accommodation difficulties that men in uniform are facing within the army. We shouldn't toy with their budgetary allocation. And year in, year out, we stand on the floor and say we are pleading with Ministry of Finance. We should stop pleading with finance. We should demand. Mr. Speaker, when they collect the tax, they use law to collect tax. And when would they collect the tax and they come here and make allocations and we give the approval, we should not be pleading with them to now release monies. Shortfall releases has become something very common with the Ministry of Finance. How do you expect the army to work well if what they require for 2022, you can't even release all to them? And Mr. Speaker, what is instructive is that the defense is making very heavy demands for 2023, especially if you look at compensation. Last year, their compensation was 1.8 billion revised. As of September, it was 1.4 billion. This year, Mr. Speaker, they are demanding compensation alone is over 3 billion. And so if we're experiencing shortfall and even CAPEX releases, I fear what will happen in 2023 in respect of releases. Mr. Speaker, they have earmarked a lot of things to do for 2023. So the Ministry of Finance should pay attention to releases to the Ministry of Defense. If they will toy with any agency, not Ministry of Defense.
142,910,887. So, Speaker, if you look at Table 2 on page 9 of the report, the figures don't sum up to what is calling us to do. So if the chairman can tell us which of the items that should be amended to add up that one Ghana city that is asking us to do. Because on that table, the total for GOG is 3,099,071,988. IGF 28,841,498. ABFA 220 million and donor 395 million. The total is up to the end figure is 6, not 7. So, Chairman, can you tell us which of the items to change so that anybody reading the table can reconcile it with 87? It's important. It's very important.
When you do the calculation, there's one more. So, and the committee decided that look, it should be added to it, but I think the clerk still repeated what it is. But yeah, but that is what I did, and he is challenging
to add the one city. Minister for Defense. There are 3 S that you can't toy with in any country. Safety, security, and stability. The safety and security of the individual, the community, and the country cannot be toyed with. My checks from the ministry and the Control and Counter General clearly indicated to me that the security agents are one of the priority areas, but this is not what is reflected in the performance of 2022. It's sad when I really read and saw that approximately 81% of the budget on goods and services have not been released to the Minister of Defense. In this current situation, how do you expect them to operate? And I agree totally with Honorable Dafiamako. It is not for this House to continue to be appealing to the ministry to release. We are in charge. We legislate. We pass the laws on taxation. They are to implement. If they are failing to do it, we have to take them on, not be appealing to them. I can't understand this, particularly how the ministry and the sister ministers are struggling with the safety and security of the Ghanaians. And you know what is happening in the sub-region. I think that we should take this as the last occasion where we tolerate it from the minister. We don't want to have this again. What is done cannot be undone. 2022 is past and gone. In 2023, this is clear notice to the ministry. We don't want this to be repeated again. But shockingly, after increasing the budget on compensation, the others have been reduced for 2023. So you are employing people. I'm not going to give them the tools to work with. Look at the budget for 2023. It has been reduced, both for goods and services and what? CAPEX. So we are going to recruit them, employ many hands, and let them sit in the houses. Meanwhile, we know what is happening. I think there have to be a second look. And the ministers, I'm happy both of you are in. Minister for Interior, Minister for Defense, I can see both of you. I think that you will take this up with the ministry. They will have to come back again. Well, we need to equip the security agencies to be able to deliver our safety and security. Without safety and security, this country cannot develop. Please, let's don't take God's guidance for granted. We are a blessed nation. We have to help ourselves before God can help us. With this, I put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I really noticed the person. So, our attention to the fact that 1 cedi has been taken away from the compensation. And so, he wants us to add it. So that it becomes 3,014,166,834 Ghana cedis. That will make up for the difference. But before I put the question, Minister for Defense accordingly approved the amended sum of 3,742,913,487 Ghana cedis for the implementation of the programs and activities of the Ministry of Defense for the year 2023. Yes, any guidance?
The documents we have indicated, according to the Minister of Finance, that 339 million is what had been spent. The Ministry of Tourism frankly came and couldn't give us the answers we needed. In terms of the itemized list of what that 80 million was, send them back, and they brought the Cathedral Secretariat. They brought us some documents. Unfortunately, after we've gone through, peruse the documents, they could only account for about 225 million, which meant that we still have not gotten an account of 114 million. Now, we also asked them a pointed question about how much total that it will cost to complete the cathedral. They said that it will cost this country $383 million to complete the cathedral. We asked them for specific documentation, especially in regard to the tender documents, the procurement processes. Unfortunately, a lot of the documents were not received. We are going to approve the Ministry of Tourism budget, but we, the minorities, will not approve the 80 million Ghana cedi because we are not satisfied with how the 339 million has been expended. We were not clearly convinced how the 80 million will be spent. In fact, we were not clearly even convinced when we brought the Minister of Finance. They couldn't justify how they used contingency vote, not one, not two, more than 3 times, spent 339 million because of the ministry's inability to convince us on their past expenditure, because the Secretariat could not explain, because the minister says we gave the money to the Secretariat. The Secretariat documents are here, and it's a 225 million is what has been accounted for. The Ministry of Tourism, which is asking for 80 million, has not satisfied this committee on how the additional 80 million will be spent. What is worse is that this cathedral, which started off as a personal dream of the president, will cost this country $383 million US.
However, today, the cedi is rapidly appreciating against the US dollar and all major currencies, making up for its losses, and the prices of petroleum products are reducing at the pump. The strengthening of the cedi has not happened by chance, but through the implementation of deliberate policies by government in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana. These include cedi liquidity tightening measures, resulting in the offloading of forex as a store of value by speculators, the improvement of forex inflows from remittances and the mining sector, and the reaching of a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund for a $3 billion US package. All these have combined to bring the cedi to an improved position, and I can assure you that government will continue to work hard to maintain and sustain the gains made. Indeed, in the weeks ahead, the Bank of Ghana will continue with the purchases of forex from the mining and oil sectors to enhance liquidity supply to the market, continue with a single unified forex forward auction, and some modest targeted bilateral support to critical imports, and the implementation of the gold for oil swap transaction, which will significantly remove forex pressures on the cedi. It is in view of this that I add my voice to those of GUTA, GRTCC, and others to appeal to manufacturers, traders, and transport operators who, at the height of the cedi's recent depreciation, increased prices of goods and services, to reduce their prices now that the cedi is regaining much of its strength. I believe this is not only a fair request, but also a just one, and I urge all of you to join me in this clarion call. However, today, the cedi is rapidly appreciating against the US dollar and all major currencies, making up for its losses, and the prices of petroleum products are reducing at the pump. The strengthening of the cedi has not happened by chance, but through the implementation of deliberate policies by government in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana. These include cedi liquidity tightening measures, resulting in the offloading of forex as a store of value by speculators, the improvement of forex inflows from remittances and the mining sector, and the reaching of a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund for a $3 billion US package. All these have combined to bring the cedi to an improved position, and I can assure you the government will continue to work hard to maintain and sustain the gains made. Indeed, in the weeks ahead, the Bank of Ghana will continue with the purchases of forex from the mining and oil sectors to enhance liquidity supply to the market, continue with a single unified forex forward auction, and some modest targeted bilateral support to critical imports, and the implementation of the gold for oil swap transaction, which will significantly remove forex pressures on the cedi. It is in view of this that I add my voice to those of GUTA, GRTCC, and others to appeal to manufacturers, traders, and transport operators.
Ugusa wutie dwabaso power 97.9 now share live TV XYZ o minor tenase mampanyi nana do danko akufado ne kasa tintin ni nyina kire se sidi na asase e mani tisuo asa hodin bi aba no enam omunhihye bi ena de saade yi aba nokra na asa nya nokre sabra ye kasa officially abaya declare say e ka amene o my Ghana no ye ni bibia eyenzi echiba anase sika bi e da wa ye betima tam e dia kotua enti ya hyase ne omu a ye didi omu ka no ya hyase people ma cho se omu ya kwan omu ma ya akonya bi omu ma ya ebre bi e dia na kire ni zuzu aso ye dia Hatchet Derek Emmanuel a research and policy analyst at Institute for Energy and Security, that's IES otia ye no babedi nkomo Hatchet Derek akwa machi
Vejesu afenko besayo
kafita ya wa she de kache nkunim bie enso Ghana di nkunim I mean titire ba yesi kasem ya ma me cha asem free a o hwe the Chronicle newspaper no pay ya was say deferral of debt payments good omen for the city. Yoka asem we finance minister also part and fita ehye Ken Uforiata unuyan wona ne ya adwen
mameda asina menchia wetie for anopa we me fita ne de menua ba kwa Nyankopon ahye na nimonyam na NDC oye madamfo na NDC for so ahye na nimonyam.
Okay.
Abanga Yakubu Alhassan.
Okay.
Awanya the national vice chairman of NDC.
Okay.
Oye mayonko oye madamfo.
Okay.
And as a youth na say all rise to that extent there was me me bonabaso.
Okay.
So not for the finance minister there na obekuti Bibles ni Bible quotation. No, not that, not that. I'm here on the ticket
Madamfo.
Yeah, on the ticket of Institute for Energy Security.
IES.
Yes, IES. So it's a policy think tank in the energy sector. And so send the can boss no. Maybe doing the obisa seed in one seminar. There is not about any magic and the seed in appreciation at bar. Because if there's about any magic be a obisa on say then a government aye AD sounds so at bar. Because within the past 1 month we've not seen any major policy on the part of government. The only thing I hear say ya kind budget no. But budget ya kind no. We have something called policy lags. Policy lag ni say be all the policy be banner. Your market, your economy no and so developed and efficient to the point say and as a president Kasiebo one pokora it will translate into other things. So that policy lag say no the policy ni ba it will take a period of time as I reflect in the lives of people.
Yeah.
Until you don't have anything na why summary it decide in the
but so tie a voice na your boy na and I say video na your boy na mampanyi na na do danko akufado chechem say one Bank of Ghana nhye dollars a mu pia de gu mu ene ne honkro ne ba no ma bia omo ye fa eno ma ye kraba ye mamu enye bibi.
It is not any of those sorts because the only thing is about demand and supply. Say we currency ni be appreciate a demand is say nipa do say ni hia dollar no and nipa do say ni hia cedi no yo hia dollar ni o hia dollar de akokra ne o ma frama no na ye den e de aba your economy so you say import dependent say almost every time biano you hear dollars but within the past 2 weeks 1 month no you also ports poor people are not even clearing their goods amount for cranium money the enfamba into onya dollar no pona or the cranium no it's onya bi no it means that there isn't any much pressure on the dollar again.
That's right.
But aside that government enter into the staff level agreement with the IMF investors it's give a clear signal to the investors say things will begin to pick up. Because that is it because
it is or crediting effort to the staff level agreement abide IMF original 100 point
or crediting because an amount utu kwa eko baby but the beginning is say unomanya sa basic agreement enya ho na ye be approve no ye de be ko anim but at that level now much me agiatum there the investors begin to have some confidence say they have credibility with the IMF. Ghana there omugie entum so we don't have any credibility until last year can budget ni we the next day and the credit rating institutions say it's a downgrade here. But this time no more say IMF no, they have that credibility and they'll make sure say the omaka no obey so. Now one of the precedents I was say, prerequisite I was so and he say we come no. And to come in again, also a debt restructuring. And to what me a year to the about budget
restructuring,
debt restructuring, you know, and he said, me know about how Bobosia. And now, Ceciano, I was me to both interest and principal, mean to mean to and he said, I was a minute me conscience, we say, mean to mean to no, Yancy Sana Mono. It does say be a may extended the payment. I was saying to say every 2 months. I was saying to is every 1 month, every 1 year, and every 2 years. So interest rate in here, in fact, is 10%. Meet me because meet me to 10%, and maybe a year into so, and I say maybe extending no. So that is just debt restructuring. But if you almost are and ya dear a day as a party brabber for because it will be the haircut back. Haircut in say be a uko uti, the be sanity. So government you don't know so nisika, or no make me alcohol just say meet me to and it is so. Interest in the 10%, I make you into 5. So principal 100,000, I make you 80%, and that's 80,000. In that case, usika ne swati. The value for money now ka unya no, and also a swati. So it is a loss to you, the investor. But abasana, it doesn't give a clear signal to anybody because economy na ide.
I know sir a year in the coca a year pension for sika. Also trade union congress ni other labor unions. So what shall I say? Buying to the extent say almost say buying on 1 year bibia HB omo de omo adwuma beto omo nkwa adwuma kra omo buying into that say wonim run and saka omo ahomegye sika mu anye ye besi eye den na ban edidi kosa ade nim
the opening nyina say pension funds dey sika pensioners and funds government employees say dey tua no mo de ma obi o trustee ono hwe sika no so they manage the fund so mo de investment na mfa so ba Omachegu pensioners for United States. So, if you do not, you have something to go home with. But trustees for most of the things say the risk-free asset and as a risk-free investment amount for Takum and treasury bills. So the government borrows from people domestically. Now, borrow from people on common or banks for or those big institutions. You know, I want to jiska. And so jiska from where no amount I said treasury bills in those ones. You know. And institutions, you know, to say be a pension fund trustees, you know, this kind of kwakoto. And I say government, I back at you say, Sisiano, mean to yes, cano. And what the Abba say, me system, that is the restructuring. No. Now, restructuring, they say, all system, no, a big baba or pensioners, because pensioner, no, and any pabacon in this cacoy, a co and a discanacoma trustee, no. And it's a government in this trustee who put made in common. That's a trustee, not yet to ma, who trustee, no, scanning your dear, what holding in trust. And they also could be some members and they say, do they support this thing in government? Bibisa Ankoso, and it is all the debt restructuring there, but now say you don't engage extensively in society and the bar.
Hatcher so what you may pursue with a year Secretary General Emma Trade Union Congress, and Brana or buying sa and Trehano, not sat at the cocoa, and then Yabre Park, I do with mommy.
What it means is that all workers of Ghana should stay at home on the 27th of starting from 27th. Don't go to work. Stay at home. We will stay at home until we hear publicly that government has exempted all pension funds from the domestic exchange program. That is straightforward and very simple. Between now and 27, we have a few days to Christmas. From tomorrow, because we have started today, every worker in this country must signal to government and to their employers that we are not sitting down for our pension funds for the most vulnerable people in this country.
Okay, it's yentra ho MEM fire and go carry pension funds and I say Yahoo James Kemu. I mean, for an economy, I say atitia pansam and it does will be any home. Now, labor agitation of this magnitude, as a bonono, and the near Baby Hatcher Derek.
I want you to be brave. I want you to be brave now in because say one day, that's all employees in Ghana, because some encouragement to move in fear. You can imagine the kind of productivity that has been lost wahwere no bebre enti omo a 7 notice from 27th omo call strike no if the government has something to do also engage omo ahokyere so the aba and the pensioners sika no enye sika emuye duru individually no emunye duru ba collectively no emuye duru enti na ban kwaji from bo but individually enye sika emuye duru omuko pension ibo mu di ko tutondro ibo di ko nyoma story bia omo kire omo na sisi ano so hwe inflation be aduru a 50 point something. Yeah. So it means that the value of musika no mpokra no emunye duru. Their purchasing power no above form. And there was so you bibi na nka odi cushion mo no enye se sa amre na ukoti bibi from because imagine we government appointee minister yami adom na se aban free so na se aban ba West Gracia obi anfa ni sign de enkoka West Gracia but onu kakra na ya titi ni mo remu ti ni hu fifire na se ama no sika se wa save egu wonu mo no now command haircut now call the debt restructuring now call interest payment so umboa no umba ho kire na ye aba ne so more because the system itself no it means support no and it's the government of the day as a matter of agency no it also engage omo and a letter now mo dey buy no nobody does that. One of the principal principles of debt restructuring is that you have to engage extensively. That is it. Engage the stakeholders. No mutumi nyanti assess okay the odi ba no nyina ye jetum. Se say na omode ba na omo njentum no it will lead to legal actions. Even the external community no you will lose some sort of creditworthiness because going forward so no super bobo si anaso de ni sika ebe show economy no ma he believes that going forward at the bit mada sorry no catch any osika no meet tia and I meet tia no na samre wa odi obika anka wo macho unye macho but say no one more say umu power crash ni die okoji scanner e free no but nobody does that. You are supposed to engage them, come to a conclusive conclusion, then you can now move forward. It's okay adina odi ba no both the creditor and the debtor no munyina mo ajetum then you move forward. Okay. But the way they are buying there it doesn't show good sign of faith. Emma amount for your confidence with them.
Derek you ever see the so na issue of speculators ni amount for the omadwin bu ni amount for susu ni ever so but answer no enra finance ministry or an official na and also chronicle newspaper na they said yeah the can boss no say finance minister Ken Oforiatta say deferral of debt payments good omen for the city. True or false?
Nyamienum Ukraine, my view on it is a deferral of debt payment. You know, so what defer? But see, I see the news where they appreciate it. See the near appreciate it. Some important can also meet your external debt because it not appreciate you know, not devaluation at channel, depreciation at channel. And scanning you be brave. It's a boom so almost 460 something billion dollars. But we show the dollar equivalent. Be 50 billion impo. And this time now can see the appreciate you know. This is the time also with the ultimate but I say what defer at the accord 2027, 2030 something by that 2030 something, you don't know what will be the value of the city. Imagine from 16 cities and it's about almost 9-8. Speculation and as part of IMF staff level agreement, you know, ama a bono aba form na a city na appreciate it. So this is the time and can be always to me the ultimate there all the katasu nyina say scan ebini ho and it ebini ho no it's not about good omen for the city and yeah interest payment na utuane na ama pressure the abaso you are not able to generate enough revenue and why reckless with borrowing and why reckless with expenditure and it's a car be menel it would mean generate your economy is not producing enough say obetmanya for so those things so it is not a good thing so you hide behind it say the deferral is good for it because as of now the city is appreciating. Sanka depreciating, and I will catch him say the deferral will bring something good in the near future. It means that you are anticipating say city appreciate there. Then that's a good thing. But say I appreciate it, I also defer no. Nobody who knows what will happen within the next maybe a decade from now.
It's when Professor Buckman Bayer say I was buying a ton of boise. War said yeah, we'll see dear who see it. Now one try say yeah. A year after dying in 2023 February bosom mumpuno so henna da so tesa na fo hunu say when you free or how anymore ususu say the prof can on train e mo pem sa abre no
enyamenum nukran me lecturer no no wa kire made da me prof back no me respect no na the okan no me fo aso the reason being that some culture say it is not a clear policy intervention on the part of government and the buy. It's not about monetary policy. It's not about fiscal policy. Budget in a kind and you do staff level agreement because the IMF is more credit worthy. The second part of it is speculation because of the credit worthiness now IMF media ba. Speculation in is one of the things that drive exchange rate. And into black markets for only black markets for no. You call airport runabout about yes, it is a major boosting factor sector on its own. The only so much meet say no more reduce economy no going forward that they now project any more can say that is a speculation as a concern who akobasa et basa na who so nyamfa so free when the speculation goes yes when the speculation goes to their favor but say that still they appreciate no omo farm omo ka just say no more holding omo no and see omo holding no to people to this is the best time say better dollar no because $1 ni sambre only say just for a short period. From February going, when it is not a clear policy intervention, you see the near are depreciating.
Dollar na buy no so pia gum ne.
Dollar no pia gum, but what we have to know is say as at now, the IMF do not ban no, they've not reached the final approval. Because before they reach the final approval no, it was a government egitum say and then the creditors egitum say so debt restructuring near the bano ya jiatum. It is one of the prerequisites. And it is a moment there is no way at that level, okay, IMF boss, one of the things I can say, it is one of the prerequisites. It is a moment the debt restructuring to say that we are employees for strike, pensioners and air strike. It is one of the signal. It means that part, until all the other people, especially the external market, so you cannot reach that kind of agreement with the IMF. Then at that level, no confidence na come for no, you now be eroded away. Then the speculation will not change again. That for the bonus city no, it means and so. And so that is a situation as of now. So for now, the government, they are supposed to wait, relax a little. See what will happen in the first quarter of 2023. Then you can now say, okay, your policies and ideas are for and yes, sir, bus is not China, you regional no marshal says, sir, they should not come and tell us, say, Russia, Ukraine, because by no Russia, Ukraine, and I covered your man in Trim and over home in Samrane, and to say, no, say, go do your money, Dania. Frank was share any other external factor. Like I say, it is not about internal external factors. No, it means that you've not been truthful with Ghanaians.
Okay, Michael, your boy Anan, a financial analyst, member of the NDC. When you pay, wabra me mana kwa ba mana chin, amana fisher pay. I'm for we money. Sir, asemia keno for ya take true or false or say deferral of debt. No, at the say ye kaya. Was ye tria yes, say ye niska ye be tria ye to ashenda no. Or say at the park, am I city no? No crown as well, boy.
I feel over 2 years. It's your my chef for native for you know. Yes, senior wakanono. In a way, it is a good omen. But what is the foundation of it? Dear pan territory. Now, if all of a sudden demand a conform, and no doubt about that, demand has dropped by about 65%.
Demand for the aim.
Demand for the dollars. I mean, trade has China's ports have closed and all that. And the demand about form. Yamana a bit tough for Christmas, no, has been ordered. Those who have 90 days credit, 120 days for credit and all that, no. Bet your deposit at your deposit. Yamano become sem anase and amquansu eba. So you would see demand picking up somewhere late in January towards February. The trend has always been the same. If you plot it, you will realize that from 2021, December, right, the dollar came down, went up sharply between January and February. Over 10 percentage points.
And October, gone.
And the same thing will happen again because demand will surge. Come late January into February, demand will surge. Sesiano, ya ono can say our reserve position, no, it's not something to write home about. But because we have suspended our external debt payments in NT, pressure on government in Suno, it's not that much. obligations to meet debt repayment and service interest no me say mintia oni a champion aye ba o say wontia enti yes you would have some kind of relief, immediate relief. But all this is based on how successful the debt exchange program will be. Now, yeah, and
already a facing opposition.
Yes, that is where the issue. In fact,
TUC, Labour also strike.
Yenfa internal one, no, and tunche. If the external one fails, the entire program fails.
Hey.
Yes. And what we have is like a standby agreement. We don't have an agreement. A staff level agreement is not an agreement.
Sir?
Yes. We have an agreement in principle, say, who to me emitted these prerequisitions, sir. Then you would get the management level and then the board level approval. But I think, say, they have disrespected the bondholders so much, say, they threw it at them. Oh, other countries are here. And they shelved their ego. Before the announcement, they have engaged them. Some form of understanding, Abba and Sana, they rolled it out. And we can talk of the Jamaican experience. What you say? But you threw it at us. And then make it a bond. And don't assume, say, investors are stupid, because they are the most smartest of cats. Now, and then me share my position with the future cash flow I will promise him. Now me share say, if I will take it even at a discounted value today, which one benefits me? And trust me, a lot of them will say, I'm checking out now. Jise udi mra asha omu se omu to me. And as it stands, no, no mi hoye. So there is a possibility this will end in court. In fact, the external debtors, the way they have positioned themselves, form lawyers and financial experts are at home. If this lands in court, the whole program is a mess.
But what say ni aban dia no what to tunwa ebrew aban emaye ni ahotoso bi te said ye wo ye bibi na esidi no all of a sudden enya hodi bi nti adwadifo na adropafo almost asentete no maso ze bibi papa bi ba ene wo dia ibo ebra kaka.
Well, and then me can say sidi no eba form no. It is as a result of say Russia war no yajai say adie Putin ni Zelensky almost now see enum tea. Enti na sidi no ahode no apega. COVID issue no new variants na aba no your friend city enti push city no ma city na anya ahode. Me to make us we were in this country when we were told say the depreciation of the cedi is based on exogenous factors. And then we're there nasi. Tell us, Nasi, your reserve position has not improved. Your trade surplus, it's at its lowest, although it is better than all the entire term of the government before you. At least you are making like $1 billion trade. So what is the real reason behind your essing?
President Akufo-Addo say a Bank of Ghana and she share any monetary policies.
I was waiting for that to tell you, say, Bank of Ghana is equally responsible in terms of the speculation. Sisiano, Bank of Ghana is using speculation now on no precedent. See, and you know, some 3 minutes tape, see the dumping of the cedi. No, that is what BOG is doing. Because if BOG cannot tell me that he has improved international reserve, that he has improved trade surplus, right? That the inflow of dollars in terms of remittance has shot up significantly, then give me a real reason if it is not speculation by BOG. BOG, now saying, figures, in terms of monetary, almost to me and publishing. Are they? They cannot tell us what, as we are in December, they have reported up to May. And these are figures with them. They have the figures. So why is BOG not pushing out the figures? Because we will find them out. We will realize a gap between what rates they are publishing and what the demand and supply is like. Oh, where no more? This is the same thing they did from 2018. And some of us told them, say, fishes no, you see the cracks in the wall. You find a solution to seal it. You don't open it further. Say, one who crack or wall, who chisel wall, no, no, you seal it rather. But what BOG is doing, they are opening the fishes. And they are doing it because BOG, that needed to be independent-minded in its operation, is being controlled by the exchequer. It is clear, said the finance minister is controlling BOG. He's telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So yes, you can use speculation by publishing the rates day in, day out. Because some few weeks back, BOG, you couldn't publish the rates. But also, the gap between the rates BOG is putting out and the rates in the market tells you the level of confidence we have in the system.
Interesting. So what you kakrama na akasima 9 na dwumadi ye de abana wie ba ba bia nkomo ne kono Ghana for pelesa. Look, it is say the crack say e de ne ba ba hunu in the coming days. First of all, they got it to me no anum say so wotie mampanyi na make my friend emotional blackmail and yan kind of pay say the city mampanyi dey to adwanifo adrobafo nyina anim say said the normal see economic normal so sabra e say inflation over 50%. E dey Ghana na ye ba be hunu e free bronya busumi mu ko afie da ye nim Derek.
Thank you. Ominda wasibio. Nyame nim nukure there will be a lot of agitation going forward. Because Sir, Lieutenant Finance Minister Diabano, and now there were extensive consultation as an order, and so all the various stakeholders will be agitated. For the domestic people, a idea which more at the bromo, so there's no way we accept it until they will rise against it. But solving and dealing with debt restructuring, normally the domestic type, more easier because the government more or less have control over it. When it gets to the external one, and another. Because omona ombudi omsikane ba on the external level no omunye obi obitima control no unlike Ghana say Ghana obitima assist on laws no and they favor yourself as a government and then tell the people say, okay, I'll pay you at this period of time. But those people outside no, you don't have control over their law. And it's say banner some they call law na ko legal matters twena minchi bon say YMF na one chiro unya $3 billion no bon say that one alone will be extend beyond the normal period. Senanka was say a quantum, yentimi anko. Is a biana do no, almost here debt restructuring, and some more boy. And no sooner, wako pro wako jumpy gano. It is said the people will lose confidence in you. Say, Ubano, you don't have any good faith. Say, Odebane, you should have a proper negotiation. And they will also take an entrenched position. You have already taken an entrenched position. Then how do you come into a consensus? And it is a program that we are all yearning for because of the mismanagement, the reckless borrowing, and other things. It might be delayed. And when it delays, it will worsen a lot of things for Ghanaians.
Derek, when I say, we would you. Zanan.
Well,
hey, me am asking you.
Going forward, it's going to get only tougher. We should pray, say, something comes through and we are able to be back on our feet. Sisia Yatomu in terms of default. And it has all sorts of implications. Yes, it's most likely will be downgraded further. Sisia just a baller no ya tam. They be baller no ya womu degrees. Unse osu baller joints no. See, the who call the main to send ya a war bawe hono. See, I honor if we should go to D. It is going to get a bit tougher.
Wow.
I expect, say, in the first quarter, we will see inflation further escalated. Because I don't believe, say, inflation at 50.3% has peaked. It has not. And with all the tax implications, it's going to push up inflation by about 4%. What is more scary is inflation ebe kosru no, and all that no, is not really the issue. But what is scaring is if by first quarter the budget in terms of the revenue handles no, we are unable to achieve the first quarter target, we will be in a bigger mess.
No. Insi medo ase mesa Michael ni ya boy anan and afen so Derek Hatche so oten en kabusha for ahane de dwumadi no besi within the Prince Kwame Nkabra asa na me kono we a big happy birthday pa enkoma boss K na boss 1 CEO Emma XYZ Broadcasting Limited Benny Auntie and ne birthday yakoswa sre nyame enhira nyansa sika nimdie ahoden at the amount said by ya akwantu ya was XYZ Broadcasting Limited etuo was aga na yimu no ebetime tu niye na ye nyina yetime gina brane you from Kwame Nka agimanie power nie or the power mid morning ebrem sisi or Power FM our TV XYZ ye yimu sini ye bom nyom enwumre brem nso political shows ahodo ye bebrem ye bechia bye bye.